Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, a lot of people keep on saying whenever you're asked about the cruise lines wanted to be treated equally with other travel and other businesses like hotels, casinos, and air travel. And even the transport minister in the United States came out and said, well, you have to treat an airline different than you have to treat a cruise ship. And that has to be treated different than you treat a bus and a train. That's correct. That's correct. However, maybe one of these might be way more dangerous as far as the virus goes than the other. And they have no restrictions on it whatsoever. So last week we heard Richard Fain come out, the CEO of Royal Caribbean, in an interview, and he came out and said, look, we've had 100,000 people on our ship. We've had 150 cruises over the period of 5 months. And out of all those people, we've had 10 cases of COVID. And it was no spread. It was handled easily. It was mitigated, and there were no deaths neither, by the way. That's a pretty good record, right? That's a pretty good record. But then they come back and say, yeah, but that's a cruise ship. You got to treat, you're treating that different than the airlines. And here in Canada, we just had a study come out that was pretty glaring. In a span of 2 weeks, okay? 2 weeks, not months, 2 weeks. One airport, British Columbia here in Canada, which, as you know, has very limited travel right now. I think we're flying out at 16% capacity here in Canada right now. Well, of those, in our international travel, we've had 23 cases of COVID. So let's see. 100,000 cruise ships, 150 cruises over the period of months, 4 to 5 months, 10 cases. One single airport in one province in Canada, 2-week period, 23 cases, more than double the positive cases that were from the cruise ships. It kind of makes you wonder if they're not concentrating on the wrong travel, if they're not concentrating on the right direction, right? Cruise lines have kind of proven, hey, if we do the testing, we do the social distancing, we do, the cleaning that we do, the new ventilation systems, we've proven that we can keep COVID basically off our ships, and if it does show up on our ships, it doesn't spread and it's mitigated. Airlines, however, no matter how long the flights are, people are gone. They're just gone. And so these are people who we've caught in 2-week period. 23 in one airport, by the way, and at 15% capacity. United States' airlines are ramping up. They are eliminating the middle seat in a lot of cases now, and they're packing them in more because they can't keep up with the volume of people traveling. Do you hear a single thing from the CDC or government officials saying, wait a minute, no, you know what? You need to keep those middle seats empty. We need to mitigate your distance. We need to social distance. We need to do... No, you heard the CDC come out and say, hey, you know what? If you've had your vaccine, you can travel. You don't even need to test anymore, for God's sake. Don't worry about it. It's good. Go on your vacation, travel wherever you... We don't think you should. We don't think you should travel. But you don't have to do anything. You don't have to test. You don't have to quarantine when you come back. It's all good. 23 cases, one airport, 2-week period. Airlines are not flying to only places where COVID is under control. They're flowing to Brazil, which is blowing up right now. They're going to Saudi Arabia, which is blowing up right now with the virus. But nothing is being said, nothing is being done. In fact, they're opening it up even more while they handcuff the cruise line industry to that framework for sailing. Anybody out there, please, 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 anybody, tell me the logic of those numbers. Because yeah, I can't. The numbers don't pan out. And that's why you don't hear numbers of how many people were caught testing positive when they returned from a flight and returned from a trip. You don't hear those numbers whatsoever. Because if you heard those numbers, they'd have no choice but to shut down all the airlines and all that guidance that the CDC just gave out for international travel. Well, is it really the smart thing to have done? Meanwhile, the cruise ships, American-only cruises, aren't allowed to travel. But you can travel to Dubai, come back. You can travel to the Caribbean, jump on a cruise ship there, come back, and you don't have to quarantine, you don't have to do nothing. It makes no sense. But yeah, that study was pretty eye-opening. Here, how many people in Canada are testing? By the way, we only have 4 airports that allow international travel. So if you, and BC is not one of the largest. Toronto and Montreal would be the largest airports in Canada accepting international travel. So if you think even at 23 each, that would be 69 passengers in 2 weeks testing positive. That's more than almost 7 times the amount of cruise ship passengers over that same period of months that have COVID on their ships. Again, it just doesn't seem to make sense. They just pick on the cruise lines because the cruise lines made the headlines at the beginning of the pandemic. And nobody wants to be that person to say cruises are okay now. They have the safe way to do things and things are good. They are terrified to make that decision and have somebody call them out. They'd rather bankrupt businesses, homes, travel agents, tour guides, people who work on the ships, restaurants. They'd rather do that than admit and possibly have something happen, even though the odds are very, very slim. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.